Alright guys, we are back. Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon. It is so great to see you. And hey, obviously I am not in the studio, I'm out and about, and I'm thrilled to say I'm heading up to Big Bear I was gonna say this weekend, but actually it's gonna be a quick overnight, heading up there with a buddy of mine who incidentally has a Turtleback trailer as well. He has a fantastic vibrant blue getaway trailer, and so we're scooting up to, the goal is to get up to Yellow Post 30, which of course, if you remember from earlier this year, Caleb and I went up there and we were hoping to get 30. Now 30 is on the south end of Big Bear. It's about a 40-ish minute drive to get down in there with the trailer, of course. But last time we went down there, and of course somebody was there. Nobody was there, but somebody had some tents there, so of course that was game over there. Then of course we went to the north side and ended up staying at Yellow Post 7, which was nice. I originally learned about Yellow Post 7 from 395 Junkie, who was up there last winter, and it looked absolutely fantastic. And so it was nice. It was windy. It's a little bit more on the desert-ish side. I mean, there's still, you know, trees, but you don't have coverage like you do at like Yellow Post 25 or 30. So worst case scenario, if 30 is taken, then we'll scoot. Well, we'll see if we can't find anything along the way on that little road. I forget what the hell it's called. And then worst case scenario, scoot up to 7 or 6, which are kind of side by side. 6 looked kind of 6 could look pretty cool. You have a little bit more tree coverage, but just kind of a different scenario. But either way, both of those, you're right in that valley, so you get a ton of wind. Now I'm heading up to meet my buddy up at a gas station. We're gonna fill up and then we're gonna get onto the road. So I'll pick this up here in a bit.
First is first, well, I need to get some groceries. Now it's time to get on the road. And as we pull into what should have been familiar, the surroundings, they don't look familiar. What is odd is it's only been 8 months since the last time I was up here with my son Caleb, and the forest has changed, and I can't put my finger on it. I'm not recognizing my surroundings, and even made a radio call to my buddy that we may have ended up on the wrong trail. I seem to recall reading online that there were 2 number 30 spots. Not sure why there would be, but I started to doubt myself that I had navigated us to the right spot. Nothing looks familiar until we get to number 30 spot, which of course I now recognize that we ended up on the correct path. And oh, by the way, I figured out why nothing looked familiar. Last time I was up here, it was shortly right after a fire and everything on the ground was gone and dark. Now, pine needles and forest debris covered the forest floor.
Okay, it is 3:30 and we made it to location. Now, when we got up here off of the highway, it was about 20-30 minutes to get to make it down to Yellow Post 30, which again, Yellow Post 30 was taken. So on the way back, we noticed there was a few roads that kind of veered off a little bit, and we lucked out. This location where we're at right now is, I mean, it's incredible. There's some rocks. We have a lot of trees around here, so we got a lot of shade. But yeah, quite a bit above us to allow the solar panels to charge up our batteries and so forth. So I got the Turtleback all kind of set up, leveled out, got the tent deployed. Now the goal here for this evening is, well, I'm going to be sleeping up in the Toro off-road tent. I'm going to have the Russian Bear up 5 tent over here. Now I brought 2 diesel heaters up, and so the idea with this here is
The 2 kilowatt, which has been installed in the nose of the Turtleback, is going to be heating up the tore off red tent, and I'll show you here in a bit the setup with that and how that's going to work. But the 4 kilowatt, which is the portable unit, is going to be in the Russian Bear tent, and this is just meant to be, I'm testing it out. I want to be able to, the evenings are supposed to get down in the 30s tonight, and it'll give a great opportunity to see how well that works in heating that up 5 tent. Now granted, the 4 kilowatt is a bit overkill for it, but still it's gonna be fun to experiment and to see what that does with the temps and that compared to the wood stove that we have been using during the last time with colder weather with the Russian Bear tent. Anyways, I'm gonna get that tent set up, and we'll get moving along here in a bit. Well, I had a slight detour and decided to take my drone up and get a bird's eye view of our surroundings, which only turned out we were about an 1/8 mile away from Bluff Lake Reserve, which, as you can see here, the water level is quite low, but boy, still very tranquil. Now you may be wondering, Alex, why did you bring the Russian Bear tent up if you're going to be sleeping in the Turtleback? Well, part of this quick turnaround is to test out new ideas, or a few ideas and products for upcoming 2022 season. Now, this includes stress testing and getting familiar with limitations and where those might be for certain products. And as you'll see in shortly with 2022, we're going to be heading out in one of 3 setups. Now, of course, we have the Turtleback Expedition trailer, which is full-on glamping and all sorts of resources at my disposal. Then, of course, there's going to be times where you're going to be watching me heading out in a Russian Bear or similar tent, or going out full minimalist and sleeping in the back of my Jeep Gladiator now that it has the RLD design cap on it. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, Alex, you look to be about 6 foot, and that bed is only 5.5 feet. How is that going to work? Well, I can tell you right now, it's not going to be easy, but I can fit in there diagonal. So heading out with just the sleeping in the cap of the back of the truck there is definitely going to be lean and mean, but I think it's going to have a twist of adventure to it, and it's going to be a lot of fun as well. Now, while I have 2 Russian Bear tents, the Pentagon and the Up 5, I absolutely love the Up 5. Now, granted, this tent doesn't have nearly as much windows as the Pentagon, but I like how small it is when it is stored away. So I guess there is a trade-off to each of these. And as you can see here, setup is a breeze. And now you can get this tent with a floor mat, which is great for uneven or rough terrain, which of course will help protect the tent's floor and make walking in the tent with no shoes much more enjoyable. And guys, what I'm going to do here is, it just struck me that many of you watching this might not be familiar with this tent, so I'm going to take a moment here and share with you some of the specs of this tent, and I'm going to keep the video going so you can see in real time how long it takes to set this thing up. And as you're watching me here, you can see I'm not moving terribly fast, and so that should help you kind of create a gauge as far as how setting this thing up is. Now, onto the specs. This is a big tent. Now, the diameter of this thing is 178 inches, and it has a height of 87. Now, this thing tips the scales at 73.85 pounds, so just a little bit shy of 74 pounds. Now, this tent can accommodate 4 people on cots or up to 8 people in sleeping bags. Now, my personal preference, how I set this thing up, is I have I think it's a Kingman cot. It's a queen-size cot, and I'll use that, and I'll put my X-Speed Mega Mat on top of that. I'll usually have a portable table in here and a couple chairs, and there is a ton of space in there. It's a very comfortable living quarters when you're out, considering it's just a tent. Now, it has a all-metal umbrella frame that's made of B95 T1 aviation alloy. In simpler terms, it's basically a lightweight frame that allows for quick and easy setup despite the size and weight of the tent. And in fact, this thing only takes a couple minutes to set up, as you're going to be watching me here. Now, the shell of the tent is made of 2 layers. Now, having 2 layers is really important because it helps insulate the tent while also reducing condensation inside the tent. Now, the outer layer is made of water-resistant Oxford 300 PU 4000 material, and the inner layer is Oxford 210 PU 2000 material, and incidentally is also coated with water repellent. Now, the outer layer features tension rope hooks, which really come in handy if you're in a windy area and need additional support to tie this thing down. And you may recall, if you watched it had been about 5 months ago when we were out in Arizona doing the hot weather test with this thing. it got super windy. We got caught in a storm, and those tie downs really they came in super handy. Now the inner layer, speaking about tie downs, has multiple hinges, so you can hang clothes or lights or whatever the hell you want. So there's a ton of anchor points inside this thing as well. Now the stitching on the tent shell is also glued, so this actually provides superb water protection as well. Now there's a couple windows in the tent, and that allows some natural light to come inside, but just, these things are about 12 inches in diameter, so they're not big windows. Now it's a 5-layer window. Now this is going to help keep the warm air inside and the cold air outside. Now the folding wing door is also a great solution for wintertime camping because it prevents the problem of frozen door zippers. Now both the door and the window have removable mosquito nets as well, which in the winter there's no mosquitoes, but anyways, it's there in case you need it during warm weather. Now you can get this tent with or without a wood stove. Now if you do get the stove, you're going to appreciate the ventilation valve that draws in the fresh air into the tent and the fire resistant mat that covers the wall of the tent behind the stove and on the floor below the stove, or where the stove would sit rather. Now you can keep your feet a little bit warmer. Now this is what I was mentioning earlier. There's an optional 3-layer floor that is heat insulation. Now a zipper floor comes standard with these things. It's attached above ground level, which provides excellent protection from insects and critters. Now this also helps ensure waterproofness by having the connection point above ground level. Now, obviously, this tent is packed full of features that really make it ideal for camping this time of the year. Actually, these things are Russian bear. I mean, this thing, built for Siberia. I mean, this thing is a tank and really shines in cold weather. But because of its size, it can be used as a mess hall or a living room, just about anything you can think of, so in this particular case, when you have other sleeping accommodations, in all reality, that's what this was going to be used for with this little adventure, kind of a living space or eating space or just play card space, whatever. And since you can add a optional vestibule to the mix, you can make it even more functional space by having that area to take off your snowy or muddy boots before making your way into the tent. Now, the Russian Bear tent. Now, this is the part where, you got to be sitting here. This thing is not cheap. It's $1,800 or basically $1,900 here, $1,899. Now, this is one of those scenarios you get what you pay for. Now, my experience with this tent, which, holy smokes, I'm just kind of thinking about it. I've had this thing for over a year, which incidentally, this is not a paid or sponsored video by Russian Bear Tent, but this thing is really worth the price tag. And when you're out in the middle of nowhere and freezing your butt off in cold weather, wouldn't you rather stay in a solid, well-made shelter that you paid a little bit more for than a questionable one that's easier on the pocketbook? Anyways, that's just my 2 cents, and those are the specs of this tent. Now today I'm going to be trying something a little bit different and another example of testing something here on this particular trip, because we have, at the time of filming this, strict fire bans going on. But that's not going to stop me from attempting cooking some chili with my J-Shank grill here. I just need to, as you can see here, get a little crafty. So I'm going to cook this over my propane fire pit, and it's funny. I had a few people give me this tip that you can actually cook over these fire pits. So this is ground zero for me here. This is the first time cooking over a propane fire pit. This just shows the versatility of the J-Shank. This happens to be, you might recall from the Arizona trip. I was talking about this thing is one of my favorite cooking devices. And the funny part about this is the reason why I like this, or what attracts me so much to this, is just how modular it is. I like cooking over wood, as you may recall with the new food series that we're doing with the wood pellet grill. This, you're able to cook over wood pretty seamless. So as you can see, to get this thing set up with the fire ring, over with the fire pit here, the propane fire pit rather, you take the main center rod and you're just going to hammer that into the ground. You have the feet that act as a little bit, let's see if I can get that angle right there. You can see how far they go in here, and that really stabilizes what you're putting on there. This is a heavy cast iron pot here, and I have that maybe hammered down about a good 6-8 inches into the ground. Now if you need a higher or more height, there is an extension rod that I do have. And so going back to what makes this thing absolutely badass is you can put your cast iron pots on there. Now this one, it works out pretty good, but you want a 12-inch, which I have in there, but this is the more of the Dutch cooker that I have. Then you have a grill that you can put on there, so you're able to cook over whatever fire that you have or wood. Now, I don't think I would cook with the grill over my propane fire pit, because that's going to muck that all up there. But anything in a cast iron pot is fantastic. And right now we have the fire ban going on, so this fire ring is the best I could do. And what's funny about this, I was talking to a buddy about this, I put off buying one of these fire rings for the longest time, because for me, camping is, I just like a wood fire. And what's funny is this thing was originally like $190 on Amazon. It was on sale for like $132. I decided, what the hell, give it a go. And this thing's actually a come with me all the time device now, because it's quick, easy, it's fun to get up. But obviously once the fire bans lift, I can use this with a normal fire. But as you can see, it's small, it's extremely portable, and not only can you use cast iron on it, you can use your cook over wood with it. So it's might be just one of those must-have devices. And what's funny is, while I'm cooking chili, my buddy was making chicken risotto, and while I love chili, when somebody hands you a big-ass plate of chicken risotto out in the wild, man, you take it. And I have to level with you here, I'm in an absolute gut-wrenching food coma right about now. I think I've eaten about 2 pounds of that chicken risotto and sampled that chili before packing that up. And while on topic, I gotta tell you, it is absolutely cold out. And this MC Ranch Overland fire reflector, which is the metal reflector that you see in front of me here, is absolutely kicking ass right about now. Honestly, friend, I'm sitting here with a belly bomb inside of me, and I'm out of gas. It's been a long day. It's been a fun day. And so I'm going to turn this fire off, and I'm going to call it a day, and I will pick up with you in the morning. All right, good morning. It is 7 a.m. The sun's just coming up. Pre-coffee, so, we're waiting on my coffee. Things went pretty well, with the exception of one little hiccup, and I'm going to throw myself underneath the bus here in a moment. Of course, the 2 kilowatt, which is in my expedition trailer, the Turtleback, did very, very well. Now, Planar sends these things off with, or you can get it upgraded to a digital thermostat, and that thermostat is the actual controller that you bring into the tent itself, or wherever you're going to need it. And so wherever that is, that acts as the point of reference for where the temperature reads and gauges off of. So I set it at I think I had set at 65, and so throughout the whole evening, the tent stayed at 64. Not bad. It was 37 degrees out this evening, so it did a very good job with that. Now, the plans backfired a little bit. The whole idea with bringing the 4 kilowatt portable Planar diesel heater was to be able to test it out into the Russian Bear tent, and then later on in the evening I was going to let my buddy use it in his. Well, I forgot to bring my tools. And with what's very important with diesel heaters is, obviously they run on both diesel and kerosene, but they also need a 12-volt source. And my top of my battery, whether my truck or the Turtleback, you have I think it's a 13 millimeter socket or is needed on top of it. My tools are in my garage. So of course this past week I put together that Camp Chef grill, and I took my tools out of my truck, which are always in the truck. And so I had no tools. Luck be have it, my buddy didn't bring his tools. So this is one of those things that I shared oh boy, it must have been earlier this year, talking about a checklist. So this is where I'm throwing myself underneath the bus. Having that checklist and going through all the items, the important items that you may need on a trip. And so, I'm not immune to making little whoopses. And so we left all of our tools back at our homes. I didn't even have a hammer. I have a rubber mallet that's in the nose of the diesel heater, or I'm sorry, in the Turtleback, and that is it. So kind of a big fat bummer, because I brought this tent. I brought some of the other items, set it up with the intent of simply to be able to test out that 4 kilowatt diesel heater. So that is obviously not going to be one of the items that you're going to see in this video. But I think we're going to, oh, and then I ran out of propane on my main tank on the Turtleback. So I'm going to either use one of my auxiliaries or cook the coffee and stuff over the heater, over the fire pit. I'm not sure yet, but anyways, I think we're going to be scooting off here around 10 or so. That'll get us back into Orange County around noon or so. It only took about an hour, 45 minutes to get up here, so really good time. But I think we'll probably do a little recon and kind of look around here as well. I got some pretty cool drone footage, and yeah, that's it. So I'm going to get back to making some coffee, and I'll catch up with you in a bit. And as we part ways from our overnight camp, I want to share with you something. We all have busy schedules and sometimes let excuses of not having time get in our way of getting out for a quick camping trip. Now this trip, which had very little planning, which technically bit us in the ass with regards to not having tools, but it was still a lot of fun, an adventure, and a great way to recalibrate the old compass. Now, if you've never tried or considered a 24-hour camping adventure, I definitely encourage you to give it a go. With a little planning, you're going to be glad that you did. And friend, that is all I have here for you today. So it's that time of the video where I'm going to ask you to do all that YouTube stuff that is oh so valuable to the channel. If you found some value with this video, if you can do me a big favor, hit that like button down below. If you're currently not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, kick that bell so therefore you're notified every time that we come out with a video like this one that you're watching here. That said, my friends, I'm going to be jumping out of here, so you get out there, stay healthy, and find your adventure.